Did anything change for you mentally, like how you approached anything after all that happened?
It was definitely the realization that like yes, I belong here. You know, like I was a brown belt. I was talking with Jess last night actually about like how brown belt was actually the longest belt for me. Everything else was like a year, 2 years tops, but brown belt was the longest. I was a brown belt for 3 years, and a lot of that was because I started I started brown belt in Arizona. Then I left, moved back home to the Bay Area, and then immediately got back to training under Caio, even though that meant an hour commute from Martinez to San Jose every single day, right? So 1 hour here, 1 hour back, blah, 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 blah. So I knew it was like, man, I could train 5-10 minutes down the street, you know, where I started, but that's where Caio was too. Or I could drive an hour and train with a person that made me believe in jiu-jitsu. Like I saw him do jiu-jitsu. It was like, that's the one I want. I want to do that. I want to do that cool shit. I want to be the small person on the mat, showing that technique actually works, overcoming size and strength advantages, and just, I want to do that. That works. Mm-hmm. If he can do it, I can do it, right? That was like big hope with Caio. Like because I was one of his first students when he first came to the US, right? So he was like a brand new black belt, brand new white belt. We're the same age, crazy enough. He's only 6 months older than me. And like, I remember again, I say this all the time. First time I'm seeing him, I'm like, that was someone's prom date. that is an Abercrombie model. Are you sure that person knows jiu-jitsu? Are you sure that there's a very small person? It's a very small person. They look like a teenage boy. Like, respectfully.
Yeah, respectfully.
Respectfully.
I remember one of the first.
I was like, he's the same size as me. Are you sure? Caesar, are you sure?
I remember one of the first videos I ever saw, like when I first started even just looking into jiu-jitsu, and I was looking at all the names that are in all these schools, and I saw obviously Caio Terres right down the street, and I look up the name and I see it. One of them, he's like got this guy locked up, and he looks and he just goes,
yeah,
with his hair,
the hair,
and then he finishes his sub, and I was like, damn, that's cold.
Dude, he's been doing that ever since. You understand when he first came here, you know, like 2007, right? Yeah. Like, everybody was still the like machismo jiu-jitsu, especially over at Cesar Gracie Academy. Like, you had a lot of the old school heads there where you're just like, shut up and train. Mm-hmm. You know, you gotta just get your ass kicked to get better. You know, stop complaining. And like, you know, you're gonna have like these like really like, you know, just tough, rough and tough guys, like man, yeah. Right? I eat steak, yeah. And then you have Caio walk in, and back then the style would have been called Metro. Which he really, really embraced. Oh, I really hope he doesn't hear this. Oh my God, he's gonna hear it. It's fine. Whatever. He knows. He embraced it. The Hollister Abercrombie look. And, you know, so you have him step into Cesar Gracie Academy, you know, in Pleasant Hill, in contrast to everybody who was there. And, you know, like Caesar's like, he's won everything. He is a medal farm. Like, Caesar, I don't know what that means. I'm a dumb white belt. I'm really dumb. I just train hard. Right. I was such a knucklehead. Like, you just told me to do whatever and I would do it. I'm like, okay, ha ha ha. Right. Didn't matter how absurd or ridiculous it was. If you told me to like try a move or like go roll with that person, I'm like, all right, let's go. Yeah. Like, complete disregard for like my body if I was gonna get hurt or tossed. Yeah, I was just so dumb. Just young, dumb, and indestructible. I was not. And you know, so then you have him come in with his like blue eyes and his luscious lips and his hair and his small frame. And, you know, of course, like all the guys are just like, Caesar, why are you going to bring this guy here? Dude, he looks like, you know, making all sorts of, you know, comments about his size or his looks or about like his voice and just, you know, just not wanting to believe. And I was like, yeah, look at that guy. And then he was just wrecking everybody. Down, yeah. Didn't matter if they were like, 200 pounds, didn't matter. Wrecking absolutely everybody. And to the point where I thought like this is fake. Like they're letting him, right? Like they're just humoring him, and then you could tell.
Right, they're
like,
going light. They're
yeah,
like he's
no,
the visitor.
like they
they're
were
letting him.
really trying, and they really couldn't do anything to him.
Yeah.
And that was like the aha moment. We're like, okay, all right.
I can do this.
And then the first time that he taught even was just like, that was the first time someone discussed the why of what you do in jiu-jitsu, why you're going to get one grip over another, why you're going to angle yourself a certain way, why you're going to position your leg one way versus another. This was the first time that it was actually broken down in a way that I could actually understand, because I like puzzles. And so that just really reverberated with me. Like it wasn't just copying, I have my background in dance, so being able to just see something and recreate it is fairly easy, but then not being able to go back and understand if it went wrong, like why it went wrong, or like where it started being defended, and not being able to recover from it or not knowing what to do. I was like, you can only do so much. And then he introduced the why, and I'm like, so then it became easier for me to understand like moving with purpose, not just going aimlessly. And then that just became the backbone of how I was going to approach jiu-jitsu. Like, okay, like obviously, and even more so, I had no choice. I was the only woman on the mat. Everybody was like 20 or 30 pounds bigger than me. I had no choice. I had no choice but to try and approach it the way that he was teaching it. And there were a lot of people who were really resistant. There were a lot of people who left. They're like, man, he's making jiu-jitsu all this pushy shit, all this, we just have to train hard, shut up, blah, blah, blah. He talks too much. And I'm like, they just were resisting like the fact that you could do it better without having to hurt or overexert yourself.
Without having to be like a tough guy.
Yeah,
like you could do it in another way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the ones that really, really embraced it, like of course they thrived. And so, needless to say, I was one of those people. Like it's been a ride. It's been a ride. And so that continues on too. So I try to, I don't say I want to be like Kaio, but that definitely spoke volumes as to like how I approach the thinking process, and then also even how I teach as well too. Yeah. It's very, very important to me how I can communicate that.
Yeah. What does teaching look like to you now? Are you the head coach at what's the school in Florida?
Head professor over at Pace Jiu Jitsu.
Okay.
It's just right outside of Pensacola. It's not a competition school. It's it's more people who just like to train for fun. Although I do have students who do want to compete. I actually have a few that are wanting to get ready for Master Worlds in August. And some of them are crazy as far as like not crazy in a bad way, but like crazy as in like they're going to make their first tournament like this big major tournament. And you're like, you know what? Life happens. Yeah. Like they're all like older.
Josh has done that.
Yeah.
Me and Will did that. I have a friend named Will. His first, this was after I'd already been competing for a couple years. And then our friend Will, he, sorry to interrupt your story, by the way, but his first tournament, I'd been trying to get him to compete. He's a blue belt. I trained with him at Kyle's for a little bit. He moved down to LA, wasn't really training that much. And finally, I convinced him to come to his first tournament, which was this past Nogi Worlds.
Go.
Yeah, it's just, we're like, fuck it. We're
completely... Yeah, so we joked that we wouldn't believe that Will was actually going to go until he was there on the mats. Not just in the building.
Like, oh, you did it!
But
yeah.
Slap bump. Then we believe it.
On the competition mat, yeah.
It's so big, you can still walk away. Like, no, it's happening. Yeah. Which, isn't a surprise. Like, my first time competing ever in jiu-jitsu was the first time that they had the international novice at the world championships. So essentially having a white belt worlds, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that was a big deal.
Yeah.
Kaio was literally like, yeah, just sign up and do the tournament, and like having some of the teammates back then were like, yeah, just do the thing. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah.
Right. And also too, like to put in the fact that I was a dumb knucklehead white belt, which is like, I don't know how to start from standing. Like, okay, this is what you're going to do. Flying armbar, flying triangle, jump guard. All of this was legal as a white belt. It was the Wild West back then.
Damn.
And then it's like, and then, let's just have a double collar snap down in there just in case, And so I thought that was all very completely normal to do as a white belt. It was not. My first seminar was with Ramina Sato, and he was like a pride fighting champion, like fighter. And it was all diving inverted heel hooks. Again, I didn't know that was a really dangerous thing to do as a white belt.
Bold move, Cotton.
I did not know. Like Caesar's just like, you need to support the seminar. I'm like, okay, take my money. And then, the next day, like all my teammates like, what'd you learn? Like, well, let me show you. Like,
don't their heels.
do that to anybody ever again.
That's
like,
incredible.
But like, don't do it. I'm like, okay. And so I didn't even realize like how big it would be to be competing at that tournament for the first time. And so I have students that are getting ready. One of them who already competed for the first time, but it was at Pans. And I affectionately refer to them as the Joes. They have Joe Verman and Joe Tuzel, which I absolutely love. Like, again, they're dads, they're in their 40s, they're retired military. They come in, they train very consistently. They just love being on the mat. They love training, and like I absolutely love seeing that enthusiasm. It's like, I was like, whatever goals you want, like let me help you, let me get you there. It's like, if you want to do it, like I'm all on board. I want to help you, I want to support you, I want to be your hype woman. And so and going into it was like, man, I just don't want him to get hurt. Please don't get hurt. Like I was like, I don't care if you win or you lose. I really don't care about the results. Like I just want for you to be healthy. Again, like they had been wanting to compete since like white belt, but just couldn't because they're consistently getting hurt by just stupid things, rolling an ankle, a rib, a neck, it's the Khalees songs like my neck, my back, and so and so now he did Pans, and like he didn't win. He lost his first round, but like he did a lot of good stuff, and then it was just inexperience, just not knowing what to do. But we prepped him as best as we could. And like I was like, all right, you said that you wanted to do the competition thing just to see how it was gonna be like, and like, you picked one of the biggest stages to do it at. So how do you feel? I was like, he's like, I want to do it again. Yeah. And he like immediately just like literally like 15 minutes later signed up for Master Worlds right then and there. Yeah. He's like, I want to do it again. Like I can't just sit with that. And I was like, all right, let's do it. And then of course everybody else is like, well, rallying the troops now. So now we got like another one he's a blue belt now, Tuzel, and same thing, wanted to compete as a white belt, but just couldn't make it happen because he either got injured. There's like one time during comp class where he just did a break fall inappropriately and his elbow went one way, and just like it wasn't even like a hard throw, like it just fell and just landed up, and he's like, fuck, and it's like, and back then too was just like, okay, which of the Joes is going to be injured this time? Like they're like tag teaming him on who's going to be hurt. Now it's both of them, but they're still like, I know. I was like, please just stay healthy. They both already registered. They've gotten their tickets. It's like, all right, again, like I don't care about the results. I just want for them to be healthy and at the very least get to that mat and be able to do something that they can be proud of, regardless of the result. Like just happy about like the process getting there too, because it was. I mean, honestly, in my mind, it's like, do you understand what you had to go through just to get to this point? And we're not even there yet. So I like that I have these students that are like putting in the work, and again, like really, really, really trying to set it forth on them. Like, I don't care about the results. Like, obviously, like I want for you to do well. I would love if we like have the results reflect the work that you're putting in, because you're putting in a lot of work. But the reality is that that's not going to happen.
Yeah, you can't control that.
Yeah, we can't control that. But like, again, controlling the controllables, put in what we can do right now. Like, please don't apologize to me if your body is too banged up and you can't train. Like, I will force you to take rest days. I will cancel comp training on Sundays if I see that you guys are all banged up and hurt, because
this is a good coach.
This hour and a half of training is not going to make or break your performance at the end of the day. What will make or break your performance is if you're absolutely broken. Right. If you're actually broken, you can't compete. Right. So like, take the day off, because I know that you're going to try to train with your busted up rib or your busted hip or your messed up whatever's messed up. You're going to try to train, and you're going to make it worse, and then you're going to get to that tournament not going to be able to do any of the stuff that you've been working on. So like, take the rest day. Right. If you're telling me that something's hurting and like you like something's not right, or like some cases, right? Like your wife is out of town and you have to watch the household of like 4 kids, right? Like, and it's overwhelming to make it to the gym. Like, cool, yeah, that is your priority. Number one priority is like, you take care of your family, and we'll figure out the rest, because you're here every single day. We're gonna make that work. Right. You're doing the work. rest or put like, again, like your priority in life is not to be a competitor. Your priority in life is to be able to be the best human can be. And if this is part of like not like hitting a goal in your life, don't let that supersede everything else that you've built.
Right.
Because like,
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's like it's also just jujitsu, and I say that with quotation marks because like it's really just like a thing that we like. We really like doing it.
Yeah, we really like doing it.
Yeah.
But like it is also just a thing, right? So it's like this balance, I think.
Yeah.
You know?
Which I understand too. Like for them, like jujitsu is like that's their time. That's their time where they can just focus on themselves, and that's absolutely important too. But like also focusing on yourself means taking a rest day.
Yeah. Agreed.
Like, please don't come back earlier and then re-injure whatever is trying to heal. Like right now, the common thing is I have like 3 people who are dealing with like groin or adductor, hip flexor
really
things going on there, and
Yeah.
it's like. Unfortunately, that's only going to get better by just resting it. Because if you just you keep overusing it, that strain of like someone, all it takes is someone to keep putting that knee cut pressure pressuring down, and you're trying to resist to kind of close, right? And something's going to give. So like, take that seriously.
Yeah.
Take the recovery as seriously as you take the training.
100%.
You know, because that is part of the training.
Yeah.
You know, and then navigating the mental through all that. So I teach 23 classes a week.
Okay.
It's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah. I teach the majority. I teach almost all the classes and almost always by myself. Sometimes I can have volunteers. Sometimes I can have people step in and help me out. But at the end of the day, it's still going to be just me.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
On the mat. It's a lot. Yeah. It's like 3 kids classes. Starting as I have some of my youngest students are like 3.5 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, they're great. Oh, so much fun. Sometimes I'll have it's the tiny pandas class. Sometimes I'll have like 8 of them, 8 of them ranging from ages 3 to 5, and I'm just like, I need an adult who's more adult than me. I need an adult, you know. And then sometimes I'll have some of the older kids will help me out with that class too because they like helping. But then I have to like manage them too, and I'm like, But we make it work. Like I do love what I do, but it's a lot. And of course, even introducing a curriculum was new to them, like having them understand a curriculum, understanding that I have lesson plans. I don't just go off on tangents. I stay on subjects. I like to make sure that everybody is like on the same page before moving on if I can. Little moves that I feel like a good combination of what I've learned from Kaio and what I've learned from Gustavo. A good mesh because they are 2 completely, obviously they're different people, but like even their mindsets and how they approach training and how they approach, like they're two different schools of thought. But being able to like somehow mesh it together so that's something that's very personal to me, or like it shows like who I am as an instructor as well too. So you're gonna get the tough training, you're gonna get the technical training, but you're also gonna get like the mental aspect of the training too. And then making sure that there's always place for just being a human, right?
That's
because
very valuable.
Yeah, like again, like some, especially in the area that I'm in, is like I have a lot of students who are either military, current or retired. So there's like a lot of the mentality is like, I just need to shut up and train, or I just need to stop complaining, or I just need to stop being lazy, like, just yes ma'am, and very very like just stringent, like just get the work done. And I'm like, yeah, you're not a machine, and and that might be what you have to do at your job, or what you've had to do for so many years in the military. But like, I'm not like not your CEO. I'm someone who wants to guide you. I'm not here to like
crack the whip.
Yeah. Like I'm here to push and motivate you, but at the end of the day, like I want for you to be able to accomplish, like, be the best version of you. You don't have to make me happy. Don't think that you have to make me happy. You don't have to please me. Just show up and be healthy. And then any way that I can help make whatever goals that you have happen, I will do. But don't ever think that you have to do things to make me happy, or there's nothing that you can do to disappoint me outside of just don't be a trash human. Don't do that. Don't do dumb shit. But as a student and just as a person, like there's nothing you could say or do that could disappoint me.
Well,
like honestly.
Well, speaking of what sounds like a hot take in coaching, because I feel like there's a lot of coaches who I guess maybe a carryover from that old mindset you were talking about, like where like just trying to be tough and like tough everything out and that kind of thing. So I guess it's more common now, the coaches like you who are very in tune with the students and things like that. But I think at a certain point I would almost call that a hot take, and what a beautiful transition into
hot takes,
into the hot take section.
No. Yeah. There's a part of me that was a little anxious about this, like, oh no, brain work.
So the way hot takes works is I'm going to give you a topic, and you got 20 seconds to tell us what you think. Oh, no, you're not required to answer any of these. If any of them pop up and you're like, I don't feel comfortable answering that on camera, that's totally fine.
Okay.
But also feel free to speak your mind.
Okay.
And tell us what you think.
I feel like I've just been doing that. We're just popping off, and we're like, am I going to say anything I'm going to regret later on? Like, that's what post editing is for.
Yeah.
And if anything, if you want us to cut anything, just let us know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I haven't heard anything crazy yet.
No.
No, yeah, I feel like I haven't said anything that I would regret. Like, I feel like I've given credit to the people that I, again, respectfully and honoring, but also very real experiences.
Yeah.
You know, we laugh about these things.
Yeah. Absolutely. As long as you laugh after it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Am I actually hilarious, or is that just trauma?
Okay, so I'm gonna ask the question, and then Josh is gonna handle the timer.
20-second timer. Okay.
Okay.
Hot takes. Hot takes.
First one. Fuck, marry, kill. CJI, ADCC, IBJJF. Go.
Okay, as in, when we say fuck, is it like we want to fuck them over, or like we want to have relations with them?
Relations.
Okay. Yeah.
7 seconds.
CGI for we want to fuck them. I mean, they're paying. They're doing good things.
Okay.
Out of time.
Shit.
Really quick.
What?
You got marry and kill left.
Okay. Oh. I hate to say it, but I would marry IBJJF, but I feel like that's like a Stockholm syndrome thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's familiar.
Yeah.
Like I know what to expect. I'm
Toxic
like, this sounds like trauma. And like ADCC, I feel like, well, now it's like I want better for it, but like also I feel like they just don't give a shit about women, and it's like I would be okay with the just offing it, because you know they've really shown all these years in ADCC's existence and no development for the women, and I just feel like there's still like that alpha, like, come on bro, train harder, like the fact that you have to wrestle and we can't even see jiu-jitsu is like, dude, just let us do the jiu-jitsu. Why are you forcing us to do the stand-up thing when we could just get to the scissoring faster?
That's a hot take.
That's a hot take.
I had the exact same order of operations that we had for IBJJF. ADCC.
Yeah, you know, CJI is like the hot new thing. Like, yeah, I want a piece of that. It's like, it could be a one night stand. That's cool. Yeah. You know, they might be toxic, but at least they're consistent.
Oh, damn.
There's stability there, okay? There's stability. I thrive off of stability, okay? All right, I need that. I need reassurances. And like, if anything, they're meticulous and it's easy to follow. For my, I don't know, again, maybe I've just been indoctrinated.
It's Stockholm syndrome.
Trauma. This is trauma bonding, you know?
Yeah. When Jess came on the show, we just, the hot take was IBJJF, and she was like,
yeah, she's like,
fuck the
that.
IBJJF.
Yeah, I remember that. So, fun fact, I was watching that interview while I was doing after school pickup, and I'm thinking, oh, it's a podcast. They're probably going to edit like cuss words out.
Oh, no.
And so I'm like watching, and then all of a sudden it's, fuck the IBJJF, and then all the kids were like, Professor! I was like, I'm sorry, I thought they were gonna bleep it out. We're gonna, sorry, like, please don't tell your parents.
Oh, that's hilarious. I went to Coach Kristina's class.
Like, we were watching her friend, Coach Jess, and Professor Kristina. Yeah.
Mom, what's the IBJJF?
Okay. Next one. Ready?
Okay.
Gabby Garcia versus Craig Jones.
Go.
I want to believe that Craig Jones can win, but I feel like it's going to be death by snooze. I just
Death by what?
Death by Snoo Snoo.
Snoo Snoo?
Futurama. Amazonians.
Oh,
they just like the body is.
They fuck them to death.
Oh, okay. Wow.
The spirit is willing, but the body is weak and jello-y.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
She is a monster of a woman. Like, again, with all respect, like nothing taken over. She's a massive. I'm a small person. I mean, I'm not even that small, but like, it's like Shadow the Colossus. I remember standing next to her one time and like just like in the bullpen or like the metal area, and she wasn't even competing, but I was like, oh my God, my torso is her thigh.
That's crazy.
Like she is a large woman, and she does have good jiu-jitsu, but that is a large mountain to climb. And you know, like I always want to root for the underdog, you know. But Gabby is Gabby.
Who is the underdog?
That's my question.
Who is the underdog?
I was like, I feel like Craig is the underdog in my eyes.
Did you hear him on Joe Rogan? He's like, are you gonna train for it? He's like, probably not. Not very hard anyway. I was like, well, dude.
I mean, I don't know. In my head, I just see her picking him up and just carrying him away off into the sunset. Like, you're mine now.
Okay.
She loved the visuals.
Ready for the next one?
Yeah.
The gauntlet. Like the belt gauntlet.
Belt gauntlet.
Yeah.
Go.
I don't really like it that much. Yeah.
What about consensually?
Consensually, yes. But I also like, I don't know, like I don't like it when they have them like crawling around or like you know, and it's hard because the gauntlet is something that happens at the academy I train at now, and they do it with the kids, and like they absolutely love it. They absolutely love it. But there's just a part of me that's just like, I want to do something else.
Yeah.
And like part of me just makes me feel uncomfortable with this. And
like a cake maybe.
Yeah, like I don't know.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Like I mean, like I had to lie when I was a white belt and I did it. I was like, yeah, woo, do the thing. And now I'm older. I'm like, I don't want to get hit and I want to get thrown, and I don't know. Or maybe like I like the idea of black belts throwing me. I feel like that's fine. But like I don't know. I think over the years I've gotten uncomfortable with it. Before I used to be like all about it. So maybe a maturity thing.
It might be.
Next one. Last one. Elon versus Zuck.
Go.
Oh shoot. Well, Zuck actually trains. Does Elon train? Does he train?
I saw him doing like MMA or something.
Did some. There was a video that circulated. I'm not sure the extent.
Zuckerberg is training with Mikey. Like,
think about the size of Elon though.
How big is he?
I don't know.
I think from what I understand, he's quite large.
I feel like.
But you know, technique conquers all, and he's training with Mikey, and I don't know. I feel like somewhere in that lizard brain, he'll probably make it work. I want to feel like I feel like there's some technique there. I think he can make it happen. I would say Zuck. Yeah.
Okay.
Zuck. I don't know. He just has that cold stare, and you just go into full lizard mode.
Yeah.
I think that's like.
Remember his testimony before Congress when he was sipping water like a human? Yeah. All the memes circulated. They're like, this is how humans sip water.
Yeah, I feel like.
Just kidding, Zuck. Come here. Come on the pod, please.
Yeah, there's
We're right
something
down the
in me
street.
that is just like, he makes me deeply uncomfortable, and that's why he would win.
Fair enough. Great job. You passed.
Yay! Oh, thank you. I really need that because otherwise I would just be ruminating on that. I'm like, oh my God, was I good enough?
No, you did great. You did great. Really quickly before we part ways, where can people find you? If people have questions, where should they reach out? Is there anything you want people watching to know?
At KB Jiu Jitsu on Instagram is usually a really surefire way to get in contact with me. Or you could try emailing me, but that gets filtered out. I get some weird emails. I get some weird stuff.
We'll have to have you back on the podcast just to explain what you mean by that.
Yeah, like, I mean, you could talk to any woman in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. And then as you get higher level, they just get weirder and weirder and weirder. And it's like just...
That makes me feel icky.
Yeah. You should have a segment called Icks in Jiu-Jitsu. And
that's genius.
Icks in Jiu-Jitsu.
That's genius.
Jiu-Jitsu Icks, yeah. Yep. That's just like, just existing as a Jiu-Jitsu woman, that's just one of those things. So at KB Jiu-Jitsu Instagram is a good place to go just because it feels like not so direct like an email. The email feels like very business. Like, how did you get my email? Despite the fact that I have it posted that you can contact me there.
Yeah, it feels very personal.
Yeah, but there's also like all the different filters. Like there's like the message request, and then there's like the other inbox, which will sometimes go into like Lion King's. Like, oh, we don't ever go there. That which the light touches, but that place not there. But sometimes you peruse and they're like, oh my God, what is this? What is this? God. Like, oh my God, what are you depraved people? Stop talking about my feet. Oh God.
Okay, so
that went somewhere. All right, at KB Jiu Jitsu on Instagram. That's probably where you should contact.
Let's just go. It's a party
Kristina.
there. Yeah,
don't email her.
Yeah, because also I have the ability to ignore you, and you won't know. That's great.
Right. Don't email her.
It's not even that I ignore you. Sometimes there's like, I don't have the capacity to acknowledge this right now. Maybe in a month. Maybe never.
And then tomorrow you're getting your third degree.
Third degree. Yeah.
Congratulations.
My 9-year anniversary was yesterday.
Amazing.
And I was like, wow, we have reached 9 years as a black belt.
Incredible.
Who'd have thought? How'd we get here?
You had just got your black belt a year before I started training. You were one of my first coaches. I don't know if you knew that, but Vitor Kim actually was my very first coach. Then Vitor took
it's all
back
a
over.
blur. I don't remember timelines so much because it feels so like much sooner, and sometimes you don't recognize like when people are coming in, especially over at CTA, especially at that time there's so many people coming in and out, and you don't know where they're coming from, and it's like, and again it just gets a blur. Like I think about 2015, 2016, and I'm just like, oh, that was just like 2 years ago, right? Like,
it feels like
no,
it. Feels like it.
No.
I actually have one story that I will share. I don't know if you will remember this. It is seared into my brain. I'll never forget it as long as I live. I was a brand new blue belt, and I had berimbolo fever, as many blue belts are wont to do. And I came into an 11:30 class, and it was just you and me and Eric Rasmussen. And Eric was he was a purple belt. He had just come from, he had taken a long hiatus, and he moved from guerrilla jiu-jitsu over to CTA, and it was just us three. And you're like, hey guys, like, I mean, it's a really small class. It's kind of like a private lesson. Like, what do you want to work on? And I was like, berimbolos. And you're like, sure, sweet, let's do it. And but Eric was the higher belt, so like Eric was gonna go first. And Eric, as you know, is very intense.
Yes.
Very intense.
Yes.
And I put my leg there for him to like set his daily Hiva hook, and he set the hardest daily Hiva hook I've ever felt. And he took his hand and he slapped my ankle, and it made a sound. And I looked at you, and you looked at me, and you were like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, what is going on? What's gonna happen? Am I in trouble? And I mean, the class was fine, and we did a lot of stuff, and I still use some of those details today, but that one was really stuck with me, and I right then knew that you were with me. You really cared for my well-being. You're like, I'm gonna protect this blue belt.
I know. So no. I'm sorry, little one.
We're gonna try it this way.
We're gonna just
a
back.
little bit
pull
lighter.
Back.
Yep. Pull it back. Just a
Not
little
so
bit.
intense. We're gonna bring that back down from a 13 to a 7, maybe a 4.
Even more.
Even more.
Yep.
Because your 7 is still like a 10.
Yeah. Yep. Very good.
But we love him.
Yeah.
We love his
Listen,
intensity.
I love Eric.
But like, yeah.
Yeah. He is a great human being. He truly cares about jiu-jitsu, and he cares about his people. And I will say this, to Eric's credit, when I was testing for my brown belt, he came to open mat and he sat there with me for 2 straight
Dependable.
hours.
Yes.
2 straight hours, and the only thing he asked was that every 15 minutes or so we have a berimbolo break, because he was working on the berimbolo, and he was like, I'm gonna do 5 berimbolos, and then you can get back to whatever it is you want to study. And he never asked to do anything else. And I was just like, Eric, seriously, thank you so much. You really, really helped me dial things in. So
I like, it's like, instead of a water break, like, can I have a bolo break?
Yeah.
Bolo break.
Yeah.
Quick little bolo break.
Anyways, let's wrap it up here. Thank you everybody for listening to another episode. If you enjoy this podcast, like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us at Thanks for the Roll on Instagram and TikTok. Give us 5 stars and write us a review wherever you listen, and share this episode with someone you think would benefit from it. See you next time. Thanks for the roll.
Thanks for the roll.
Say it. Thanks for the roll.
Thanks for the roll. Oh, yes. Rolls.
Perfect.
Good job.
Perfect.
Good job. Oh, you crushed it, KB. Good job.